We'll now move on to our next item, which is the report from our superintendent. Superintendent Kingsley will now make remarks to the board and the community. Brian?
Yep. Thank you, President Pedersen. I really appreciate that. Good evening, everybody. It's great to be back. I hope everybody had a restful spring break and time to recharge with family and loved ones. It's hard to believe that the end of this school year is close by. Sooner than later, we'll actually be starting to approach graduations, which is unbelievable. Yeah. As I'm visiting with schools and staff members, I do want to let everybody know I continue to visualize and have firsthand experiences that there's an excitement and a joy that is taking place across our schools and our school community that deserves to be celebrated. It's not happening by accident, it's happening by design. As I see teachers this week, they look a lot more rested than they did the week before spring break. But I continue to just be really proud and inspired by our shared commitment to not only accelerate learning for all students, but to be truly committed to ensuring that all members of our staff and all members of our student body feel like they belong. And as we close out this school year, we're going to continue similarly to that resolution that you just heard and amongst all of the others. We're going to make belonging and acceleration of learning very visible to our community and to each other. That is our shared commitment as a district. I want to recognize and take a moment to acknowledge the members of our Muslim community who will be starting Ramadan this week. Where they begin fasting and reflecting. I want to acknowledge that we see you. I want to acknowledge the members of our Christian community who have been engaged in Lent, many of them fasting and reflecting. I want to acknowledge that we see you. To members of our Jewish community who in early April will begin to celebrate and have a happy Passover, I want to acknowledge that we see you. Our students and staff represent so many cultures, so many beliefs, so many traditions, and so many identities. And it's really important that everyone, every single person, is seen as human, is affirmed, and belongs here. And the work that we do as leaders and as members of this community, we all have responsibility in upholding that value system. The worst thing that you can do as a superintendent just before spring break is decide you're going to go on a bunch of school visits. But as we talk about belonging, it's not just acknowledging through my superintendent remarks, it's seeing it in action, seeing it in the classroom, seeing it in our policies and our processes. I've had over the last couple of weeks the opportunity to visit many schools, and I've set a standard for myself around talking about them that I don't know if I can uphold because there's so many exciting things that are happening. A couple schools that I'd like to elevate tonight are Cash Laputer Elementary and Middle Schools. They're special schools that serve a very special community. Many of our members of our mountain community and other members of the surrounding community there. We know that school, actually, our middle school, just recently served as a voluntary shelter for members of our mountain community that were experiencing horrors of a fire just a couple of days ago. When I have an opportunity to acknowledge the leadership of Alicia Bono, the principal at the middle school, the work that's happening there around student ownership and agency and empowerment is really super impressive. I'm impressed by their peer mediation group and having students take a leadership role in how the school leadership team defines their work and their various interventions. They have BIPOC affinity groups for their students, for them to feel like they belong and connect, but also for their leadership teams and their teachers to learn about their experiences to make sure that they are more inclusive and feel a deeper sense of belonging. I had an opportunity the second to last day before spring break to then visit CLP's elementary school, and Landis Boucher, the principal there, takes very seriously accelerating learning and belonging. And I had two of their students, Bryant and Hattie, that gave me a tour. And some of the most beautiful things that Bryant and Hattie shared with me at CLP Elementary School is that there's no bullies there. I really pushed them on that because I know sometimes school is tough, but they really felt that there's a family feel in that school environment. And I could tell you that you could feel it. They actually asked me to participate in some meditation exercises. And I would tell you that my downward dog pose needs a lot of work, and I shouldn't have done it in a three-piece suit, but I had a lot of fun visiting those particular schools. After those visits, I had an opportunity to go south and visit Trout Elementary School, one of our core knowledge schools. And I was really proud to see the work that Alyssa Kendall was doing with her team. And it was really fascinating to learn that 1/3 of every one of the second grade students at Trout Elementary School is a first-generation American. Let me say that again. 1 out of 3 second graders at Trout Elementary School is a first-generation American and I had an opportunity to participate and observe their celebration of the history of immigration in the United States and listen to second graders, 7-year-olds, talk about that it was this country's hope, liberty, and freedom is what inspired their various families to come to this country. It was beautiful. I had an opportunity yesterday to visit Beatty Elementary School, and I have a lot of great things to say about Principal Dave Patterson, and he's going to be retiring at the end of this year. The school is in solid hands, and the future is bright, but had an opportunity to play math games with a third-grade student named Emma, and she took it really easy on me, which I appreciated. Had an opportunity to go to fourth-grade classrooms where they were participating in circles. Many of our community members who participate in community engagement sessions know the various aspects of circles to ensure that all voices are heard. To have students be reoriented to their community and their classrooms is really important the day after spring break. To make sure that all of them can talk about their experiences, talk about what they remembered from what they learned prior to going into spring break, and now how do we want to ensure that there's classroom community moving forward. And then I ended my day at Werner Elementary School yesterday. And Principal Hayden Camp and that team, I did 2 things. I met with 6 student council members of their 5th grade who take very seriously planning school culture activities and planning activities for their school to make sure people feel like they belong. But I had a beautiful story where one of the students asked me, if there's 2 things you can do as a superintendent, what would they be? And one said, have more ice cream days. And I said, I'll try. And the other one was, I'd like to have more unstructured play in PE. And I thought that was really fascinating because as soon as the students suggested more unstructured play, the other 5 5th grade students immediately and politely said, I don't think that's a good idea. And I said, well, why do you think that's not a good idea? Well, then Coach Jay, who was our PE teacher, wouldn't be able to do his lessons on cooperative play. If it's all unstructured, Coach Jay wouldn't be able to talk to us about fortitude and empathy and do his unit that is focused on physical education that develops trust. These are 5th grade students that are talking about their teacher in a way that is just absolutely beautiful. What makes this district strong, and we're going to continue to talk about our monitoring reports tonight, because it's not just great anecdotes that I could tell a great story. It's really talking about how do we look at the human experience and pair it with what is our data and the signals in our data telling us. We've already had DE 1.0, the first part of it, where we talked about our academic success. I'm going to ask our Chief Information Officer, Madeline Nalba, in just a second to cue a video that we just sent out to our community to elevate the things that we're going that we have been succeeding in across this district academically. But tonight we're going to focus on the social, emotional aspects of our students and how much they feel connected. It's a both and, not an either or. But for members of our community that challenge me, appropriately so, to focus on our core business. For members of our community who say we need to focus on learning, teaching, writing, and arithmetic, I want to let you know that this video is for you. Madeline?
Hello, PSD community, it's Brian. We have so much to celebrate. I'm talking about the kind of celebration where we shout from the mountaintops about how incredible our public schools are in PSD. If you only take one thing away from this message, I hope it's this. Our students are learning, they're growing, and our graduation rates have gone up significantly. PSD is one of the strongest school districts in the state of Colorado. Recently, the Research, Evaluation, and Assessment team finished our annual monitoring report. Think of it like our district's report card. More than 100 pages that show how we're doing around our priorities of literacy, graduation with options, and mental health and belonging. Data help us learn how adult practices lead to better student outcomes. Are there things that we can get better at? Well, absolutely. But right now I want to focus on the wins. A couple of things that we should all be proud of. Simply put, students who have struggled with academic performance are catching up faster than their statewide and national academic peers, and our entire student population has made substantial academic gains over the past year. Among districts our size, we are also a leader when it comes to getting students ready for colleges and careers. PSD has some of the highest numbers of students earning college credits and industry certifications during high school. And they're taking career and technical education courses too. That's what graduation with options really means. Now let's talk about graduation rates. The class of 2022 earned PSD's highest graduation rate in 16 years. Let that sink in. And PSD students who go on to college continue their success with very high GPAs even in their first year. This is a community celebration, a team effort by our students, families, partner organizations, and our amazing staff. As we're giving each other high fives and patting each other on the back, can I ask for your help? Let's lead from a place of strength. It's not enough for one person to talk about these things. Let's commit to telling each other about what we're doing well. Let's celebrate our colleagues and our schools publicly and often. Our staff, our students, families, and communities should know just how strong we really are. We are PSD, and that means something. Thank you so much for all of your support.
For every employee in the school district that contributed to making those achievement results possible, I want to say thank you for your incredible effort, your hard work, and your commitment to this community's youth. For every parent in this community that has trusted us with their most prized possessions to send them through our front doors, I want to say thank you for your trust. For every community member that has partnered with us, volunteered for us to make that happen, I want to say thank you. Tonight's second half of our monitoring report focuses on the humanity of our students, how they show up, how they feel, how they're experiencing our schools and our community. It is equally as important as the academic successes that we just talked about, and I look forward to having a more robust conversation later this evening. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Excellent, thanks for those remarks. Brian, we're going on now to our period of community comment. I just want to get my notes right here. Okay.